Hello again, back with some more Valiant Thor facts, or should I say, Frank Ernest Stranges facts. Like I told you guys before, listen, I know there's a lot of you out there that doubt the story that I present to you, even though that all I presented to you is facts, that Valiant Thor is a hoax. I mean, it's clear as day. I just told you that. I showed you with the extensive research that I have been doing for years. And this guy right here, I already showed you guys, is Frank Ernest Stranges. Right here, as you guys can see. Now, if you're going to say to me that that's not him, like I said, something is wrong with you, okay? This is him at the Bible Seminary. It's called North Central Bible Institution. They changed the name, of course, many times. You can see North Central Seminary. You can see North Central Bible College. It had plenty of names, but the name that Frank Ernest Stranges gave us was North Central Seminary, okay? And this was at the University of Minneapolis, Minnesota. And as you can see, this is Valiant Thor, or should I say Frank, right? Right here, this is the actual Bible Seminary right here, okay? Like I just told you guys, and I was showing you the picture. This is Minneapolis, Minnesota, and this is Frank Ernest Stranges right here, as I just showed you. This is him, right here. Hey Frank, how the hell are you? So, as you can see, he used a picture of himself as a young man, and he created that story of him being a Venusian. Now, common sense people, a lot of people of the 50s did the same thing, okay? As you already know, like I already mentioned, Howard Menger, and, you know, we can go on and on about these stories on and on. You guys can call me a skeptic all day. I already told you guys that I'm not a skeptic in terms of extraterrestrial beings. I do believe that we're not alone in the universe, but, you know, anyone on Earth who proclaims to have visited by human-looking aliens and have no solid evidence to back up their claims, I'm not going to believe it. I'm sorry. You know, so if you want to be one of those people that want to believe these individuals that claim contact yet they show no type of evidence whatsoever, then good luck, okay? Because clearly they're pulling something over your eyes and you can't see the facts, so you're just going to accept it as fact. And now this is Phil Schneider's Valiant Thor. Again, I'm showing you guys that this is a hoax, okay? So Phil Schneider's Valiant Thor is also a hoax. As you can see, as a different guy. It's not just that, but you don't see 6 fingers, okay? Now, I know from this side you don't see 6 fingers, and I understand that, okay? You just see the thumb and then the index finger there. Now, but if we go to the next photograph, okay, which is right here, this is the same guy, because Phil Schneider held up this photograph also, and he said this guy right here is Valiant Thor, as he said, right? But then if you look down, you might not see it in my camera here, but he does not have 6 fingers, as you can see. There's no 6 fingers, guys. There is no 6 fingers, okay? So I would like to say to you guys out there, you need to cut that shit out, okay? This shit is a hoax, alright? Now, if you examine Phil Schneider's story, which of course I didn't really go into it when I started telling you guys that Frank is the Valiant Thor that he promoted in his book. Now, this Valiant Thor, as you can see, there's a lot of things that doesn't make sense, okay? For one, Phil Schneider, he tells you that this guy is 8 feet tall. Now, does he look 8 feet tall there, guys? Huh? Because if he is 8 feet tall, then that means this guy right here is taller than him. So, there's no way that he's 8 feet tall. There's a lot of things that Phil Schneider kept saying in terms of this Valiant Thor. Like, for instance, he said he had the privilege of meeting him one time. Okay, but if you had the privilege to meeting this person that's not supposedly from Earth, then why not ask him questions? Okay? Why not ask questions? Wouldn't you be curious to know certain things that he can probably tell you? But then he tells you that he don't know if he crash landed here, whatever, you know. So if you see all the videos and stuff that Phil Schneider has out there that you guys can see on YouTube, then you can see that he contradicts himself plenty of times. He also says that this guy right here, Valiant Thor, as he calls him, right, that he supposedly has a spacesuit. He walks around in a spacesuit. All right, now, if this man walks around in a spacesuit, can you tell me why he doesn't have one now then? Huh? But then you guys are gonna get mad at me and try to use the former president, of course, may he rest in peace, granddaughter, whose name is Laura Eisenhower, okay? And you guys are trying to tell me, oh, well, she spoke of Valiant Thor. No, let me correct you, okay? Frank Ernest Stranges, he was from that era, okay? So he used her granddaddy in his story, all right? Because, of course, people say that in November 7 of 1956, that he supposedly met some aliens. Listen. Again, whether it's true or not that he met aliens, okay? I've heard different stories, all right? Even the one on YouTube where you see there's an old guy and he's talking about that particular day because he says he was there, but he doesn't talk about no Valiant Thor, okay? He's talking about someone different. He's saying that these beings were not, they were not like huge or anything. They were like short and stuff like that. But then, listen. I have already clarified to all of you guys. The government of the world, okay, that means United States, Russia, China, London, what have you, these people have to decide whether they want to reveal the presence of extraterrestrial beings on Earth, okay? Not just some random individual that says he or she have contact, yet they don't provide any solid evidence for us to believe, okay? Well, again, I believe the governments of the Earth are not going to give us that information until if they feel it's a necessary thing to do. Remember, it has something to do with national security, guys, okay? So they're not going to try to just throw it out there to us like that without first, talking to the whole world as a whole and making that decision. So all these politicians, or you can call them elite members, because basically that's what they are, and when they decide that it's time, to tell the world, that be us, that the presence of extraterrestrials are here, then they will do it. Till then, I believe that they're not going to do it yet because maybe it's not time yet. But when these beings begin to be hostile, then they have no choice but to tell us, because why leave us in the dark? Okay? Now, people see in the skies, they look at it and they say, hey, it's a UFO. Well, don't necessarily try to say that just because you see something you can't identify, that it's not from Earth. Okay? I believe that there are planes, or whatever you want to call them, jets, or made here in the world, and they're fast, okay? So they're high technological things that we have on Earth. However, if you see something that just shoots up and shoots up and just flies away, then I would say then definitely that's not something from Earth, of course, because that's not natural. Now, I'm not saying that Phil Schneider's other stories he said are false. I don't know that, okay? But, when you really look at his story, you'll see that it kind of makes sense, but then again, it doesn't. You know what I'm saying? So, it's almost like just because his father was in the military, which, of course, that was fact. Oscar Schneider was there. There's a lot of things that's going on, but I'm not talking about Phil Schneider. This is not about Phil Schneider. This is about Valiant Thor, okay? Which everyone think that is real, and it's not real. And of course, like I said, this is Valiant Thor right here, which is Frank Ernest Stranges. Okay? Hey, how the hell are you? All these people are Venusians then. Hey, how the hell are you? Hey! Okay? Listen. Don't come crying to me that I am lying about Frank Ernest Stranges. You guys know that the man was a walking lion being. That's what he did. He knew how to manipulate people. Didn't he study psychology? Huh? So, in knowing that he was a student of psychology, he was able to decide, and he was also a private investigator. Okay? And then he told you about Prince and all this stuff. He understood all that, you see? But when he knows that people like us that are not in those fields, then he figures, why not, right? Why not? Why not create a story where people are going to believe it? But then, when you have people like me that criticize this story, right, and call it a hoax, you guys out there who are die-hard fans who don't open your eyes or your mind, you get mad at me when I clearly showed you this is Frank. Okay? You supposedly have a being who has an IQ of 1200, but yet he's sitting in a conference at Howard Menger's home, who Howard Menger's happened not to mention him at all. He has a newspaper in his hand of 1956 newspaper. It's called the Sunday News, like I told you guys. It's actually a New York paper, okay? It's a New York paper. It's sold in New Jersey at the time. I don't know if it still does, okay? Now, then you have him with a bracelet there, and he has a little pinky ring. And listen, I've already showed you guys that this is Frank. Clear as day, okay? Frank's natural hair color is brown. When he told you that Valiant Thor's hair color is brown, pay attention to the facts, guys. He changed his hair color, obviously. And he didn't want to make sure that Valiant Thor is, does not get identified as him. So what he did was, he give you a different description of Valiant Thor. He says, well, okay, let me make him 6 feet tall, 185 pounds, okay? So you guys don't, take a look at him and look at this person and say, oh, well, that's a young Frank Ernest Stranges right there, which of course it is. And of course, as you guys can see, he never changed his wavy hair. It's the same as always. And that's how he kept it throughout his entire life, all the way through. The only thing he did, of course, was he dyed his hair black. Now, if anyone out there could correct me, come correct me. I challenge anyone out there, okay? I have actual proof, okay? It's documented proof that Frank Ernest Strange's hair color, original hair color, is brown. Just like he said Valiant Thor's hair color is, okay? That's him. He changed his hair color to black. So, you guys can go ahead and keep saying that I'm full of it if you want. I have already showed you facts that this is him right here. This is Valiant Thor. This is Frank Ernest Stranges. Same guy right there. Come on, guys. Common sense, man. Common sense. Howard Menger, okay, didn't mention anyone by the name of Valiant Thor. He didn't. Okay? He's the host of the conference at his own home. So why would he not mention Valiant Thor? Right? And then not only that, think about this. Like I told you guys before, August C. Roberts, right? Who is the photographer there. Can you tell me why would he give these photographs to Frank Ernest Stranges and not Howard Menger, who was the host? Not only that, like I told you guys, August C. Roberts worked with Greg Barker, okay, for the Solarian Bulletin. He was there for that reason. He wasn't there for any other reason, okay? Yes, we know that Greg Barker knew Howard Menger and James Mosley. Of course, they knew each other. These people were going along with the little hoax thing that they had going, guys. You know what I'm saying? It never ended there. As you guys can see, Frank took advantage of it and said, okay, let me take that little adventure that we had in the 50s and let me bring it to modern time. And that's what he did. And that's what he did. And now people, that be you guys out there, believe that this is real. What makes you believe that this is real when he has no solid evidence after the 1950s. No new photographs. I told you guys I spoke to his wife, okay, May 31st of this year, 2017. And she confirmed what I was saying. There are no photographs taken after 1950s photographs of Valiant Thor and his people. And then she says because he said, which of course this is, to me, is a typical answer, that Valiant Thor said he didn't want them taking photographs. He didn't want Frank taking photographs. And that doesn't make sense. When he want us to know if it's real, right? If he's real, wouldn't he want us to know that? Huh? But I already told you guys that this story is just full of it. It's all Frank, guys. It's common sense. I just showed you a picture of him as a young man. This is him. Okay? Now, if you don't want to believe me and you want to keep believing Craig Campobasso and all these other fucking people out there that keep promoting this story as fact, the only reason they're doing it, again, is to be along with the popularity scene and they get money, right? Because, of course, the more lectures you make out there with this story, which people are going to like to hear, they're going to make money. And that to me is funny that, you know, no one has any more questions. And I just find it so funny that Craig Campobasso, who became Frank Ernest Stranges' friend in 2001, okay, you mean to tell me that Frank never once introduced him to Valiant Thor? Ask him yourselves, guys. Craig Campobasso will tell you. Okay? Frank, while he was alive, before 2008, of course, kept saying he's still in contact with Valiant Thor. Okay, so why didn't he introduce him to Craig Campobasso, who became a good friend of Frank? Okay? Not only that, who to this day is the one who promotes the Valiant Thor story still, regardless of the fact that he haven't met Valiant Thor in person himself. Don't you guys find that a bit odd? That he would do that regardless of the fact that he never met Valiant Thor? I find that odd because if I was Frank Ernest Stranges' friend and he didn't introduce me to his so-called Venusian friend, Valiant Thor, then I would have known that something's not right. Okay? Common sense, people. Common sense. But yet, you guys out there are going to get all aggressive and upset with me because you say, oh, well, why am I saying this and that? Why am I not saying what? Okay? This is Frank Ernest Stranges, and I told you that. Okay? So, but if, like I said, if you don't believe what I just presented to you guys, then move on. Okay? Move on. This is what life is all about, right? Moving on. I just showed you that Frank Ernest Stranges was a confused man, okay, who didn't know, you know, after having a marriage of so many years, and then he gets married the following year after being with someone for over 20 years, okay, and then he marries a teenager at the time. I mean, I'm just confused, man. It confuses me that people would just go ahead and believe this guy, okay, that he told nothing but lies continually. There was a lot more things that, see, I didn't get into it in these videos, the lot more lies, because the main concern was Valiant Thor. That was my main objective here, is to show you guys that Valiant Thor is a hoax, that it's Frank himself, passing himself as a Venusian, as other people did in the 1950s, okay, at Giant Rock, as you guys know already, the Van Tassel fucking convention there, where you got tons and tons of people that come up and they say that they're Venusians and Saturnians and Martians and all this stupid fucking crap that they come up with. Okay? Anybody from the 50s could have said the same thing Frank did. Alright? He carefully constructed this story. But like I said, there are gaps all over it. You just had to see that he failed when he should have just tried to take his pictures of himself away, but obviously he couldn't. As you guys can see here, this is Frank right here, like I told you guys. This is Valiant Thor, as you guys can see. It's the same guy. Same guy. Same guy. Alright? Same guy. Can't get any clearer than that, guys, okay? Now, I could go on and on about this story when I already told you clear as day. So, if you guys want to continue believing it, believe it if you want to. It's fine. Hey. I just know that it's a hoax and it's a good science fact story, which, of course, that's what Frank intended it to be at the time. But he knew that why not push it in the modern times as a fact? Because, of course, all those people are long gone, right? From his time frame. Well, not all of them, if you get what I'm saying, guys. But why not, right? Why not? You know, so I just feel that I clarified myself clearly to all of you guys out there. If this was my experience of having contact with any type of extraterrestrial beings, and I was saying that to all of you, and I write it in a fucking book or what have you, like I said, I would try my best to bring you solid evidence of my so-called claim. Not no goddamn sketches of some people from out of space, instead of showing you actual photographs. Not only photographs, okay, but videos, like I'm doing now. Videos showing you their demonstrations.